What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Sean.
And today we're speaking the language of bromance, and it's the most magical time of the year. It's the special time of year. Sean, what time of year is it?
Richard, for 7 years in a row, we've brought on one of our bestest internet friends in the world. You know, what I love about the internet is that you can find friends that you make that are great friends that you don't even have to see in person. And we are going to do one of my favorite episodes of the year. And our guest of honor for this episode is John. John, thank you very much for joining us this year again for Bro Huddle 2021.
Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for having me. Who would have thought 7 years ago, checking the back pages of Craigslist, we would meet up, and you know, it's been great ever since.
I know. And you told us it was like, that was the worst handy I've ever gotten in my life, but god damn it, you guys are cool.
And then Sean was like, you paid for a half and half.
It all worked out though.
It's crazy. It's been 7 years. We met up
Casual Encounters is the best.
We met up through Pod Bros, the podcast network that you started and was running. And from there, I think we've been great friends. We've done a bunch of cool stuff. We did the AEW podcast for a little bit, but that didn't survive because of time and everything. But we mark it on our calendar for this Bro Huddle every single year.
Oh, absolutely. I do look forward to it. It's always fun. You guys already know I don't, with everything going on personally in my life, the podcasting side of thing, unfortunately, kind of had to take an end. But I do always love looking forward to doing these guest spots and whatnot. And it just feels good. It gives me that much needed fix of podcasting.
Yeah. And so if people don't know what our Bro Huddle episode is, so it's our very last episode of the year, the calendar year. And what most people like to do at this time of year is like, let's look at the past. Let's see what the previous year had for us.
Yeah. Of all the years.
And so we're not jumping on the train. Like I'm sure a lot of podcasts are like, no, we're not looking back on 2020. You know what? We are way ahead of the curve on this, everybody.
We were.
We're like, you know what?
Every year was our 2020.
So we say, let's not look in the past. Let's look to the future and see what we are excited for the upcoming year. In 2021, I want to lead off with this little tidbit that Richard had for last year's. So in 2019, kind of at the end of the episode, Rich said, you know what 2019 taught us is that we didn't need as much. And maybe you don't need a ton of movies. 2020 should be the year for us to assess what is important so we don't need a bunch. And Richard, I'm pretty sure you got your wish.
I did. In spades, my friend.
Like, wait, I meant for like 2 or 3 months, not. Oh, damn it. But yeah, it's this is where we talk about the things we're excited for 2021, the next year. I think a lot of things are probably going to, what we talked about last year will probably be talked about next year, but I still found a lot of stuff that is coming out next year that wasn't coming out in 2020 that I'm excited for. So as always, unless anybody else has anything they want to toss out before we jump into it, we'll toss it to John to give us his first thing for 2021 that he's excited for.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm trying to think. Yeah, no, I'm good. I feel like I've been too I was apparently too prophetic with the last one.
You're like 2021. We need everything. January 10th. We just saw a spaceship land in DC and aliens came out. Oh, damn it.
I'm not gonna Nostradamus this shit.
Yes, please don't. No, I think the thing though too is with everything being pushed further back into 2021, I do think we're going to end up getting kind of this like vomit effect of just, hey, here's everything. I was taking a look just at some of the lists that are have already been published on, oh, hey, what to look forward in 2021. And I seriously was like, well, that was like half the stuff that we had already mentioned. And I'm going, man, I can't believe it that we are getting pushed back. But I'm going to try not to repeat myself here, try to do some new things. One of the things that I am looking forward to, and it's getting a lot of public play right now, rumors, and I don't know if it's going to actually come out in 2021, but it's supposed to be, but the new Spider-Man. And I'm really interested to see what this is going to be all about, and hear all the news with all the people coming back to it. It's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think, aren't they kind of talking like this is going to be essentially just like the animated movie that came out, but in live action form?
Yeah, I mean, I think basically they looked at how much money Into the Spider-Verse made, and they're like, we could do that in real life. Everybody's still alive, right?
Yeah. Well, and they look at the guys like, hey, you guys aren't doing anything right now either, right? Because I think the other two Spider-Mans really aren't active and acting right now.
No.
Yeah, like
Andrew
Tobey
Garfield,
Maguire.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Making some stupid chick movie? Who gives a shit?
Yeah. You want $10 million to be Spider-Man
you
again?
want Disney fucking money? Tobey Maguire, how old are you? 55? Get a suit on. Let's go.
You still look 12. We're not going to do that upside down kiss thing again because what's her face is way old. You know what? I actually rewatched that scene and it reminded me why it was my favorite scene of all time.
Why?
Were there two reasons?
Yeah, because she was soaking wet.
Yep.
And then
you pig.
I was in high school, so you had to do like with all your girlfriends the upside down kiss.
Yeah, try on the couch. You're like, all right, hold on a second.
No, I didn't want the Arnold Schwarzenegger kiss. No, hold still. I almost got it.
God, I bet that's how he does it too.
Arnold Schwarzenegger or
Yeah.
me?
He has to make those noises. Yeah.
Come here, we're going to make out.
Get to the couch. I know. I just saw recently too that they tagged the guy who played Dr. Ock in the original trilogy,
Alfred Molina.
Yeah, which I thought he was a great Doc Ock in that too.
I liked him as
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I agree.
As much as we shit on like emo Spider-Man, like 1 and 2 holds up, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. William Dafoe gets a little over the top. Like he kind of Nick Cages it a little bit.
He does. You're right.
But if you go back and watch that, because you have to remember too, like that was before like the big superhero craze.
No, agreed. And so I think you're trying to say that like those actors like didn't really have like a frame of reference to go off of other than the comics.
But no, their frame of reference would have been like Batman and very much Superman. And so if you watch that movie, it feels very much shot like the Superman movies. And it's got very much kind of the same kind of acting and delivery and everything.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if they're going to keep that with this one. Maybe they tell them, hey, no, continue to do what we did back then. And that's just going to be your multiverse world. And, maybe they might even make a joke about it. I don't know. Say, why are you guys so exaggerated all the time? Come on,
What's up with your hair? Why are you walking like that? There's no music playing.
Exactly. What's he doing?
I mean, they played well on that in the Spider-Verse, so I think you kind of could. But then again, like, is that joke overplayed already since it's already been done? I guess is the big question.
Yeah, right.
Plus, I guess my only thing is, like, Into the Spider-Verse was really, really good.
Yeah,
like,
I
Into the
agree.
Spider-Verse as a movie was so good. And so, like, how do you do that in a live action without just rehashing, especially considering like we're getting an Into the Spider-Verse sequel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you make that movie and not just rehash an Into the Spider-Verse plot?
Well, the only thing I could think of is there sounds like this is going to tie into the Doctor Strange movie that's coming out. So, maybe it's not necessarily like the Spider-Verse where it's full crossover, but maybe it's more like cameo type stuff. Like, I think that would work in this.
Yeah, I could see that. That Doctor Strange movie is supposed to start filming in 2021. I think they're supposed to start in January.
Was it supposed to start this year to filming, or has it always been 2021?
No, I think it was always supposed to start in 2021. I think it was supposed to come out like in a year from now. I think it was supposed to be like tail end of 2021, maybe even early 2022.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
It seemed like that they were really going full force with these, that it was just gonna keep cranking them out, and the shorter and shorter production time with it too.
Well, it felt like they had like once they got once they got Endgame done with, it seemed like their schedule, they kind of were able to regulate their schedule a bit more, especially with the gap between, like, there was, because there was that year gap between Infinity War and Endgame. I felt like that kind of helped them reset and gave them like a more, parsed out like rhythm to their releases. But now I feel like they're going to go back to the model that they had before this, where things are like, I think you're going to get like a couple rapid fire things, and then there's going to be a drought, and then it's going to be hard for them, I think, to try to reset back.
Yeah. It just depends on what strategy they take. Because like if they do kind of like what DC and stuff is doing, where they're putting it all out on HBO, and they do that with the Disney app, then I think you're going to probably get some decent spacing. But if they kind of like wait until 2022 before they start releasing stuff like Black Widow and all that, they're going to have so much stuff that they're going to have queued up. But I'm excited. I haven't really seen too much. I've heard a little bit about that, but I'm definitely hoping that comes out this year.
See, you buried my lead, Sean, because that was going to be at the top of my 2021 list, was HBO Max.
Mm-hmm.
Because we just got an announcement. Well, not just, but we got an announcement that Warner Brothers, every single movie that Warner Brothers is releasing, is going to simultaneously release in theaters and on HBO Max. That is a huge, huge deal.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I couldn't believe it, but I think this is a win for us homebodies, and a loss for the movie theaters, unfortunately for them. Especially with everything that's going on already. This is just kind of another hit with them, but there's still going to be that feeling of wanting to go out to the movie theater. They're going to have to do something else to make it even more of a experience, I guess. But man, like when I heard that too, my jaw dropped. I actually went, holy shit. I couldn't believe that they announced that.
I mean, and Sean and I were actually talking about it last night, and like you said, like theaters are probably going to have to do have a much bigger job of trying to create an overall more movie going experience. I was saying that, like, like your big theater chains like AMC and stuff like that, I think that, I think they're the ones that are probably going to be the hardest hit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, theaters that are in smaller towns will probably hold on for a bit longer. And I feel like especially places like, say, like Alamo Drafthouse, where I feel like they're going to kind of be a little bit more bulletproof to that kind of model, because when you go to the Drafthouse, you're going for the movie, but you're going for a lot more than that.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of a copy paste with that. The others trying to mimic the same thing. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I think 100%. You're gonna have to. You're probably gonna see like some of these places go down to like maybe 3 or 4 screens. I think that's like what most of the Alamo Draft houses have. Like 2 or 3 screens, or new movies, and then you have more of like the other one is kind of like your Rocky Horror Picture, kind of your throwback type movie. But I mean that it's exciting because you get to see a lot of those movies at home. But I don't know, John, how much you go to the movies, but my father-in-law and I, before everything happened, we would go to see 2 to 3 movies a month at the theater. It was kind of like our Wednesday thing when, my mother-in-law comes over to watch a kid, my wife goes and hangs out with her friend, and I go out and see a movie. And so that's really going to kind of hurt me if if you want to go to a movie now, it's like $15 for the movie because it's this bigger experience thing. Whereas I was the guy who would go see, like Fat Man with Mel Gibson on a random Wednesday. That was
really did.
I did.
That happened because that was the thing.
I enjoy the movie going experience because to me, like when I'm at home watching stuff, it's so easy to get distracted.
Oh yeah.
And like this year, Scoob was a movie I was excited to go see in the theater with my son, but it came out on digital and we watched it. It was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
but it wasn't that movie going experience. I definitely checked my phone once or twice. I get up to do something. It's just like at the movie theater, you're stuck there in a chair watching the screen. You're not there to do anything else.
Yeah, right. No, you're right with that. I think that's one of those things that we probably will see more of a push from the movie theaters. They'll probably be trying to get people to say, hey, look, here you actually get to enjoy the movie experience at home, pause the movie, blah, blah, blah,
right.
all this other stuff. Yeah. And I won't be surprised if we start seeing, maybe like combination, hey, a movie and dinner with us, or instead of paying the ludicrous amount of money for popcorn or beer or whatnot, you're actually going to probably see them begging and pleading. They're like, hey, buy a movie ticket, get a free pint or, free popcorn.
Uh-huh. Yeah. $20 movie.
Or they just basically like do more of a just basically do a restaurant model, but jack up your prices ever so slightly to cover the cost of the ticket.
Yeah. Or it's like $20 movie, but you get 3 Jaeger shots.
Ooh, there we go.
Sean, I'm no longer in my 20s. I don't need to drink Jägermeister.
Jaeger bombs. Jaeger bombs.
Jägermeister's that thing you drink in your 20s to like impress other people, and then you turn 30 and then you're like, hey, I don't have anybody to impress anymore, so then I don't have to drink this fucking bullshit swill.
I don't even like black licorice.
For the rest of my life, this will never enter my body.
It's like, hey, kids, you want to ruin the taste of Red Bull for yourself? Here, try this.
Christ.
Yeah, it's gross. I haven't had Jaeger. It was about a year, maybe 2 years ago. I was on a float trip, and we talked about it on the podcast where we kind of like hopped parties, and I played this whole catch-up game. And so by the time we got to this one group, I was way too drunk. And he's like, hey, you want a drink? I'm like, sure, what is it? He's like, Jaeger bombs. I'm like, fuck it. Go, 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 go.
Oh, nope. Do you want to run down the slate of the 2021 movies you're going to see on HBO Max?
Yeah, some of these are on mine. I know like the first one, which technically wasn't in that release, and it's already come out when this comes out, but none of us have seen it yet.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, I think, is kind of broke the seal on this.
Dub 84.
Yes, this movie's been sitting there. It was supposed to come out in like, was it April or May? And then they pushed it to July.
Yeah, I think it was May, and then it got pushed. You're right. It got pushed to early July, and then that got put, and then basically they pushed it to, they said holiday season, and then I think it was like 2 months ago or a month and a half, like 6 weeks ago when they said, it's going to be on HBO Max on Christmas Day. Have at it. Off you go.
Yeah, and I don't know I know the big push I think is because HBO Max subscription I think is like at 8 million, and they have, I think it said like 20 to 28 million accounts that aren't activated. So like through your cable company phone, I guess you have like some access to that people don't know about yet, really.
Yeah.
And so you have them.
That's how I have it. I have it through my phone company.
Yeah, I tried mine and it didn't let me get it. That's the funny thing is like how many people know they have it or don't know they have it, but they have it kind of thing.
Right.
And so with this announcement, I mean, I'm sure subscriptions are going to start to go up really quick, especially around this Wonder Woman time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, Disney Plus is at 50 million. So they're only, they're pretty close to what Disney Plus is.
And that makes no sense. How does Disney Plus have 50 million when they have one show that people watch?
Well, I mean, they've been putting out stuff pretty quarterly. I mean, they're
putting out stuff, but let's be honest. They have one show that people watch.
Yeah, I mean, they have Mando that came out. They've got a bunch of the movies and stuff. Next month, you're going to get like a bunch of stuff. Like
the Marvel stuff will start rolling out in 2021.
Technically, all that stuff was supposed to be this fall too.
It was.
Right.
You're right.
But yeah, so Wonder Woman was the first one that I had. I know you've got a list of them, Richard. It sounds like. So what's some of the other ones?
So Many Saints of Newark. Now, this is for any Sopranos fan. This movie is basically a Sopranos prequel. It's a movie, but it's a prequel to the Sopranos. So this is Tony Soprano, and I think he's around I think he's in his early 20s at this point.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask how far away would that be? Because I mean, they'd have to do something about that.
Just
It takes place in the 1960s.
yeah, 67.
okay.
What this says in Newark, New Jersey. John Barenthal's in it.
Really?
Yeah, I'm all for
interesting.
anything with
Yeah.
him.
And James Gandolfini's son will be playing Tony Soprano in
cool.
the movie.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Where's some other ones here? Oh, here we go. John will like this one. Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
That was on the
Yep.
excitement list from last year.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming in May. That you can watch in your house. Sean, how are you feeling about the Conjuring series?
I've seen a few of them, like at game days and stuff. They're not as scary as what I thought they would be.
No, I agree. Yeah. There's going to be a new Conjuring in June. It's called The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Oh, that's what I tell my wife whenever she comes in the office when she's not supposed to.
Devil made me do it. Let's see. In August, we will have Suicide Squad.
Yes, and this I'm excited for. The trailer for this looks good. You got the guy who did
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Guardians.
James Gunn.
James Gunn.
Gunn. After he got fired from that, he's like, "Fuck you! I'll go to Suicide Squad." I'm like,
Yep.
Yeah.
what? What? Do you like, maybe want to come back?
Yeah.
Oh, we're really sorry.
Yeah, and I mean, this looks like a fun like war movies with like a little bit of comedy mixed in. You've got King Shark. You've got a.
Did you
bunch
ever see Dirty Dozen when you were younger, Sean?
No, I don't think
It
I
was
have.
an old movie. Fucking Lee Majors was in it. Old movie, but that's how this movie is being sold to me. It's being sold to me as the Dirty Dozen with superheroes.
Yeah, and the thing I keep wondering too, like, because with the original Suicide Squad, they kind of hinted at the DCEU, and I'm wondering if Wonder Woman, if they're going to hint at that anymore in this new Suicide Squad, if they are, or if they're just basically completely burying all that.
Mm-hmm. And let's see. October 1st, you're gonna get Dune.
Yes.
So, John, did you read the books? I've only seen the movie. I have not read the book.
No, I haven't. That's been one of those on the long list of one of these days.
Actually, if you want to watch the original Dune, the David Lynch Dune,
Yes.
it's on HBO Max right now.
Oh, sweet. Cool.
It's like 3 hours, isn't it? It's pretty
it's a
long.
long movie.
It's long, yeah. And it's David Lynch. So
Yeah.
like it's long, and then like there's moments where like it's not weird it's just I don't know. Like I said, it's a David Lynch movie. So you're just like you kind of watch it and you're kind of like everybody seems really serious over things that are ridiculous. But yeah, so October 1st, 2021, you get the remake of Dune. I recently rewatched Dune because I think the last time I watched it, like my dad sat me down when I was like 10 and he's like, we're gonna watch Dune. And none of them, it made no sense.
Yeah, right.
Made absolutely zero sense. There was a bunch of people walking around and they had things in their nose and there was a big giant worm. That's all I remember from Dune when I was 10 years old. It was very hot. They were in the desert. People had things in the nose and there was a big worm. And everybody was talking about the spice. The spice melange.
You're like, Dad, is this a sequel or the prequel to Tremors?
But I recently, like within the last like 3 months, I rewatched Dune. And I'm not going to say it holds up, but it's not terrible. I would definitely say that if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen it, I would see it. The old one. I think that people, you can appreciate it for what it is and when it was made. Because it is a very like epic story, and you do get the impression that there's a lot more going on that you're not seeing on screen.
Yeah.
And I have no idea how many fucking books there are, but I think there's like 7 or 8 or some nonsense. It's a complete book series, by the way, guys. Like, you don't have to, sit there and beg and pine for another book. Like, they're all there. You
it's
can
all
read
done?
them all.
What?
Yeah, they're all there.
Oh, I'm not interested.
It's
Then.
awesome.
I like the anticipation.
But yeah, so Dune in October. I'm kind of pumped for that, especially after watching it again recently. December 22nd. Matrix 4.
Was that supposed to be a summer release, or was that always planned for holiday?
I think it was originally supposed to be a summer release.
Okay. I've only seen the first Matrix, so I'm going to need to kind of power through the other two.
Really?
Yeah. Well, after I saw the first one, I think the second and third one may have already been out, and everybody told me not to see them because they're not good.
I mean, I could see that.
I was just listening, I think, to another show not that long ago, and they said the same thing. Like, they're like, you saw the first one, that's good. Don't worry about the other ones.
I think you could get by not watching the second or third one. The second and third one are much more interlinked.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Definitely.
Than the first. The first one is way more detached. You definitely get the impression that they made the first one with the hope and intention that maybe they'd make more.
Yeah,
but
right.
They weren't holding their breath.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's exactly how it felt. Like nowadays, it's just like it seems like people are like, "Oh no, there's going to be a second one, no matter what." Like it did feel like that. They're like, you know what, this could be a story on its own, or it could expand.
We'll leave that little bitty breadcrumb there where he flies through the sky.
Yeah,
I ended up just happenstancing upon the Matrix. I watched it in theater by myself because I was like, what is this fucking Matrix movie? I was like, I'll go watch it. I was like, it looks all right.
Yeah, it was a TNT or TBS watch for me. It was just on one afternoon, and I watched it, and you see it, and it like blows your mind. Like, oh my god, maybe we are in the Matrix.
Exactly. Like like I said, like I was like, oh, I'll go see this movie in a theater. Like I didn't have anything. It was like I had like a free Sunday or something. I was like, oh, I'll go by myself. Like it's whatever. And I went and I saw this movie in a theater by myself, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. My buddy and I were so psyched after the first one. We and this was at a time still when people were starting to get dressed up for these releases and whatnot. So we got decked out in our Matrix costumes for the second one. We were the only losers in the theater dressed like it. Like everyone was like, what? Who are you guys? Nerds.
Going around asking people, do you want the red pill or the blue pill? Yeah. This guy's trying to roofie us.
Drug deal. The last one I'll mention off of the HBO slate, which I actually 100% forgot about, but I mean, yeah, I'll give it a watch. I mean, if it's coming to HBO Max, like, yeah, I'll watch it. It's an old movie, or it's I don't know if it's a remake or I don't know what, but it's based off a 90s movie that's based off a video game. It's time to test your might, Sean, for Mortal Kombat!
Yes. I'm excited for that. There's supposed to be a really good like web series that was out in like 08, 09.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
I never caught it though.
I think I watched like the first couple episodes. It was really good.
Yeah.
But after like the first two episodes, like they're going to get a movie now. So I stopped watching it. But I think a good Mortal Kombat, like the first Mortal Kombat movie isn't bad.
Oh, I love it.
You know what?
For all
It really
its cheese.
is. You know what sells that movie is the music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. They had like one of the best soundtracks of all time, like in sales wise.
I had it on cassette.
Oh, nice.
I'd be down for that. That's a good like at home movie to watch too.
Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Is there any word on the Batman at all?
It looks like they pushed it to 2022 because I am not seeing it in this list.
And that feels like when
Batman till
it makes sense to hold on to that too, because it's like, you know what, like it's going to be ready maybe midsummer, maybe late summer. Let's just sit on it and see how 21 looks, and then if this is going to be the trend, we'll release it in 22.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. The question here is Disney gonna see this and eventually follow suit? I don't know.
I think if you see those numbers, those subscription numbers jump up to kind of like tag team up against Disney Plus.
Yeah,
I think you might. I mean, because how long are they going to sit on Black Widow?
Yeah, that was supposed to be out in May.
Yeah. Yep.
And you haven't heard a word about it.
No, you haven't. You're right.
Yeah, and that's where if they wait through 21 and they got these movies they're still filming right now, they're going to have 5-6 movies in the can ready to go, and you can't sit on those for that long. Because either you're going to really be pushing stuff out and stuff's going to be queued up, or it's going to be like every other month we're going to have a Marvel movie. Go to the theater. You remember those? oh wait, yours and your town clothes drive 7 hours to the Alamo Draft House.
Yeah.
Well, for my first one that I'll tee up then, because it's kind of in the HBO Max, and I'm excited for it because it's supposed to be the tried and true of what we should have got in the theater 3 or 4 years ago now, is the Justice League Snyder Cut.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. I 100%, that totally dropped off my radar.
It's funny because that's what made me buy HBO Max. I thought they said it was supposed to come out in like January or February.
I don't think it's coming until March.
March or April, I think, is where they pushed it to.
Yeah.
And I think that they're splitting it into, is it 2 parts or 3 parts?
I think it was supposed to originally be 4 parts, then it went to 2. So I think it's still just a 2-part thing.
So it's like 2 2-hour. I think it's like 2 2-hour parts.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the thing. Like, I feel like I'm going to be upset either way, because if I watch this movie and it's really, really good, you're like, oh my God, like, could you imagine seeing this in 2017 and been like, guess what? Wonder Woman comes out next, then Green Lantern, then this. You're like, oh, that would have been amazing.
That's the thing, is like, if it had done well, then you're like, oh my God, like we could have had a DC universe that was on par with what I'm seeing from fucking Marvel.
Yeah. And the only benefit right now, too, is if it's a stinker. It's like, well, I mean, it was a stinker anyway. I probably would cancel my HBO Max, so that's the only reason I get it. But now knowing that 21 new movies are coming out next year on HBO Max, it's like, well, I'll keep it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're absolutely
John, how
right.
are you feeling about that Justice League Snyder Cut? Have you seen the new trailer and everything?
Have I seen the trailer? I don't think so. I don't think I've seen the trailer for it. I was looking forward to it. I'm trying to think too. I never got to see the original Batman versus Superman in theater, and I know that got shit on a lot, but I did see the director's cut, and I thought the director's cut was fine. So like I was actually kind of looking forward to JLA, and I heard all of the craziness and controversy that happened with it. I watched it. I thought it was just okay. I didn't think anything other. I was like, oh, that's an enjoyable movie. And then, a lot of people, we would make jokes about all the guys online who were like, I want the Snyder Cut, because they made it seem like it was the Holy Grail. And so, that's what I get worried about, is that, like, is it going to be this Holy Grail, or is it going to be a steaming pile of shit? And we were like, oh, that really wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be. But with everything that they're pushing into this, like, the more money, they said, 10 million extra that they're going to throw at it or something like that?
I heard like 60 or 70 million.
Yeah,
that's even crazier.
That's the way I heard it too. Yeah.
And I just recently heard that like the new footage that they shot is only like 10 minutes, and the rest of it is just like recutting, recoloring, and kind of that setup.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a lot of money for...
That's what I'm like. It's crazy. Basically, I think it's also interesting to see like an idea basically that, that you never got to see. Like, hey, everything that you're seeing, like, aside from, like you said, like, aside from 10 minutes, everything you're seeing was something that was, written, shot, edited, everything. Like, this is basically like, hey, this, and from what I understand, like, the plot shifts considerably.
That's what I've been hearing.
Like,
too,
from what I understand, it's almost like an entirely different movie. It's very focused, I guess, on Cyborg.
Oh, cool.
Cyborg was apparently supposed to be like much like the focal point of the movie, and so there's so I guess it's just interesting to see, like, hey, let's add some extra let's add these puzzle pieces that you never saw, and we'll shuffle some other puzzle pieces around, and it's a completely different fucking movie.
I wonder with this, a lot of that stuff fell on the cutting room floor, because if you remember, when Joss Whedon went in there, they did reshoot a ton of stuff.
Yeah,
yes,
right.
They did.
Yeah, they did. You're right.
And we were sold at that point. It's like, well, I mean, this happens all the time. It's just a few things here or there. But if there's like hours of footage on the cutting room floor that Joss is like, nope, and you get a completely different movie, it's going to have a cool feel. But if you get in there and it's like the director's cut where it's like, oh yeah, we just had this shot when the character exit the door, we pan back on the book. You're like, well, that's yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Cut
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
This really is kind of like a fuck you money type of thing, man. Like, hey, you know what? We have $60 million we're just going to throw at this, and we'll see what happens. Like,
the next thing we have to petition for is the unreleased solo movie.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
That's the next thing we got to vie for.
How much of
because
that-
that whole movie was done. That whole movie got shot. That's
Yeah.
a whole like completely separate fucking movie.
And they said they didn't like it because it was too funny, right? Like it was too fun.
They said they didn't like it. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was like along those lines. It was too. It was too humorous, or I don't remember how it got put.
Yeah, except we find out that Han Solo got his last name because he goes up. He's like, "Hey, my name's Han. What's your last name?" "Don't have one." "Oh, you're a so low one then, huh?" Star Wars, like it just gets close. You know what I mean? All right, John. Well, what's the next thing that you're excited for 2021?
all right, it's kind of already here, obviously, when I mention it, and it shouldn't be no surprise, but we've gotten quite a little bit of a taste of it just very recently, and what this could possibly be. But I'm very much forward looking into 2021 with what's going to happen with AEW and the partnerships that they are making with Impact Wrestling, NWA, and rumor has it possibly New Japan. So I think it's just one of those that it's good to be a wrestling fan, and it gives you an alternative to the main program that's out there. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do with it and where they're going to go with it. And it really 2021 could be a make or break with them.
I mean, this has been like AEW, like I jumped right into that, and like it reminds me of almost like old school WCW a little bit, like the feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
right.
I've always tried to think of myself as I probably would say like, well, what kind of fan were you? Were you WCW or WWF? I'm like, well, of course I was WWF because that was the Attitude Era, and it kind of got stuck with that. But when I think back on it, like I was a WCW guy, and loving AEW. It's gotten me kind of like following like other things, like NWA and Impact a little bit. But like if you were to look back at this year, when March and April happen, and you're like, there's this upstart company called AEW, and they can no longer go cross country to all these different arenas.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, well, they had a good run,
Yeah.
But they
you're absolutely right. Yeah, the fact that's a good point. Like considering that this is basically their first full year
Yes.
together, right?
Yeah.
And so like your first full year and you can't sell live tickets to your events, like the fact that they're still there is amazing. That is a testament. That's a testament to fans. That is a testament to talent that's sticking around. And I mean that's really something.
I'm curious what your thoughts are, John, but I think like a lot of times people, I think sometimes poo-poo like authority because it's like, well, that's a rich person, so he's probably just a dick fuck. But Tony Khan, I think, deserves a lot of credit for this.
Oh, yeah.
He's the guy who owns AEW. He was the one who came up with the idea that when they decided to start filming in basically they have this dailies place is what they call it. His family owns it. And so they had a home base. And instead of doing a empty arena show, he brought the extra wrestlers and had them on the side of the ring.
Yeah.
So you technically had fans there. And I know Tony Khan probably watches our Twitter and our Facebook because I suggested that idea before he did it.
He does. I've texted him. That's actually how it all happened. I said, hey, you got to listen to Language of Bromance. And,
I knew it.
I was excited this past week. They had like the lights go out and the lightning was striking. I'm like, oh shit, Party Jannetty's coming out. I knew it. This is why he hasn't been talking to me. And it was the second best guy, I guess. It was Sting. ring.
Yeah,
Yes.
That was cool.
I did see that. See, even that even reached me, and I'm not an avid watcher, but that even popped up in my stuff.
Yeah, right. They do a good job of being able to do that, the cross platforms and whatnot, or even trending in areas on Twitter that you don't even expect. Like I've been very impressed with them. There was a if COVID didn't happen, there could have been a small chance that you actually would have seen a guy from Michigan as one of the extras if they came to Detroit. So I'll put it that way. So maybe in 2021, if I keep it up, if you might see some guy from Michigan as an extra there. So.
What I love about AEW, so like when all this was going on and so only certain wrestlers could actually get there to be on the show, I think this has opened up opportunities for so many people like Ricky Starks and there's a bunch of guys you can think they're like, oh, well, we need to fill the card, so show us what you can do. And they perform well, and it's like, well, now this is a guy who's a star in the show.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I also liked about it was for their AEW Dark series on YouTube, the fact that they took independent guys from all over and gave them a shot. Invited them on. Said, hey, come here, you're making a scene in the independents. One of the cool things is, being around with the local independents is actually seeing guys that I know that are wrestling on AEW Dark. And I'm like, oh, that's really awesome. So, yeah.
Guys get to shoot their shot.
Exactly. I'm excited for it. So,
what's great about AEW, too, is, I mean, you talk about like, it's based off of, they actually try to do like win-losses that matter. Mm-hmm. But it's really like with, AEW Dark, being the elite, they allow people to take their character and get them over. And then if they get over, hey, guess what? Now you're actually in the show. Like John Silver on Being the Elite.
John Silver, yep.
Oh my gosh. Like he's a guy who, when he first came in, was like what you'd consider like a jobber.
Yeah.
But then as he's done that Being the Elite, he is freaking hilarious. And he's starting to get into the actual like Dynamite shows. He wrestled Hangman out. Or no, who did he wrestle the other day? Was it Orange Cassidy?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, but yeah, I'm really digging it still, and I'm excited to see how they go forward with this. Like it's just getting better and better. And now that you add Sting, like you're getting more people to come into this. And what's crazy about like the whole Sting thing, Richard, I don't know if you noticed, like he was in WWE for a bit because that was really the only thing he could do.
Like where the fuck else do you go? Yeah.
And they buried him horribly. And so then AEW comes around, is like, hey, come here. You can have your last ride. You can have your moment. You can end your character like you want here. 2-year contract. Let's see what can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm all for that. The bit that I saw that he actually did show up, it looked like they had like my teenage years of watching wrestling in the ring when that was going on.
Yeah, right.
Because I was like, oh, they're Sting. I was like, is that fucking Arn Anderson? Is he still alive?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sad. Too bad Lex Luger can't make it out because I actually think he's in a wheelchair right now.
I was like, Arn Anderson, isn't he like 155 years old?
Wait, Lex Luger's still alive, right? Like I said that, and I'm like,
no idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like Sean, he's been dead for 4 years. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, he had a rough after pro wrestling situation, but he's getting better. But he is not. He's very humbled. It's an interesting story to look into his story.
I'll have to check that, look into it a little bit deeper. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He is not. He kind of looks like an uncle that at a barbecue party that you'd be at, and you're like, oh, there he is. There's the uncle who has to take a break before dinner.
Yeah,
he'll be back. Hold on a second.
Oof. Yeah. Oof. Rough. His 2020 was, like 2008.
Yeah.
So Richard, what do you have for the next thing that you're excited for?
Let's see. Well, I went through movies. I guess I could dip my toe in TV. I don't really watch a whole bunch of TV, but there is one show that's coming back that I'm all for, and it comes back around Christmas time. You get an episode at Christmas time, and then you get the rest in 2021. And it's Doctor Who.
Ooh,
now,
yeah.
I have so Jodie Whittaker is the current doctor of Doctor Who, and there was that big hoopla over, oh my god, the doctor's a lady doctor, fucking hit the panic button.
Was it a true hoopla or was it like an internet hoopla? Because I'm starting to feel like
internet hoopla. It was 100% an internet hoopla. And I think it didn't help that that the first few episodes with Jodie Whittaker were not, I mean, they were okay, but they weren't fantastic. But I think the thing that I feel like everybody forgets that you do this whenever they switch that fucking main character every single time. Like, you watch, like, they change doctors, you watch a couple episodes and you're like, this isn't that great. But then by the time you get to like the end of that season, then you're like, okay, like I'm sold on this person. And then they change it again, and then the whole cycle fucking repeats itself.
Isn't it like the saying is like your favorite doctor is the first doctor you watched?
Yeah, it's like everybody has a goldfish memory when it comes to this shit. Like, you hated the last one for the first few episodes. Well, yeah, but this is different. Why? Well, cause shut up, you're stupid.
Well, and
but,
I mean,
but Jodie Whittaker has really picked it up, and this last season with her was really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens in the next.
Is this her third season?
This will be her third season, yeah.
I've only seen the first season where they rebooted it with the bald guy for 1 year. He was only in it for like 1 year. He had very thin hair. It was before the other like main doctor.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You talking about David Tennant?
It was before David Tennant.
Oh, Chris Eccleston.
Yeah. So that was like the first time I ever watched Doctor Who.
Okay, so you're like circa 2001.
Yeah, like watching it, like I think it was on Amazon, and we got through the first season, and then jumped on the second season. But same effect, actually, it's like I don't really like this guy. I like the other one better.
You know what? Actually, now that I just realized it. You know where you can watch Doctor Who? It's on HBO Max.
Yeah. Are you a Doctor Who fan, John?
Actually, I've never watched an episode of it. That's been one that's over years that I've said, oh yeah, I'll cue that up eventually, and just.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been on TV for, 55 years.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's part of it, is hearing some of the old episodes being lost forever, and that kind of bummed me out, because like I have kind of that, completionist collector mentality where I'm like, oh, I got to see it all, and to know that there's stuff that I can't see because no one can see it kind of bums me out about it. But
I've watched it since I was a kid, and there's still episodes that I haven't seen. Not counting the ones from the late 60s that were lost in a fire.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's probably it's kind of like you said, like being a comic book fan. It's like it's kind of like Batman. It's like, well, you're never going to read every single Batman out there.
Yes, 100%.
You want to make
exactly
a bet?
What it's like.
Have you read every Batman?
No, I haven't actually. not every Batman. No.
I'm missing an issue 3 and 6.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah, no. There's a few. I would say not to get off topic. I've read all Punisher. Besides like some of his one-offs in other people's comics, like all Deadpool. Gosh, not all X-Men yet, but.
Yeah. When you get in those superhero ones, that is tough, because that was kind of my thing. It's like, I want to start getting into comics. I'm going to start with Batman. Like, all right, well, there's 700 issues. You're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, shit, X-Men's almost the same way. You've got X-Men, you've got Astonishing X-Men.
Yeah, right.
You've got,
Uncanny X-Men.
Uncanny X-Men. Like X-Men's been around since the 60s.
Yeah.
Well, for my next thing, I want to go to a book, and it's not the book that you guys are thinking of. But although I think we need to select that book, because to be fair, we skipped it last year. We all know what happened. But
just blame COVID. Go ahead. It's fine. You can blame COVID for this year.
I mean, not technically, because he should be home right now, because he's kind of in that age range.
That's a good
Yeah,
point.
right. Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be going anywhere.
George, what are you doing?
While you're at home, you know what you could do?
George is
Yeah,
like,
right.
oh, I'm bored. What should I do? Write a book, George.
Oh, I'm
Maybe
gonna spend the
2
time
of
on
them.
talking about the history of someone instead of actually writing my main series.
But this book came out actually like middle of November, but I haven't started it yet, so I'll probably be starting it like first of the year. It's the sequel to one of my favorite books of all time. And that book is by Ernest Cline, and it's Ready Player 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our good friend Dave the Nerd has read and finished it, and he said he liked it. But it follows the events of Ready Player 1 right at the end of it. So the gist of it, and there's not really much to go into because I don't really know a ton about what happens in this, but if it's kind of like the movie, at the end of the first book, our main character wins the competition. He finds the final egg, and he gets control of the Oasis.
Right.
And so this book takes place right after that moment. So you think you're an 18, 19-year-old kid, and you've basically been given like all of like Amazon or all of Elon Musk's companies. It's like, here you go, bud. You're the CEO.
Off you go.
Good luck.
Don't fuck up.
Yeah. We have rockets, right? But the first book I just love because it's very much like an imaginative. It's this world where anything can happen. And like I try to really think about like why I really like the book too. And the movie doesn't do a great job of this, but the book itself is very much kind of, a very like you can do anything. Because in the book, the way it's set up is that, everybody has access to the Oasis, but to get to like the PvP world, you have to have money. Because everybody does school on their own specific places. But what kicks the main character off into being able to start this journey is that he uses his brain on this school place and learns like, oh, well, the first egg, the first clue is on one of these school planets that I have access to.
Right.
And so he gets to use that to kind of gain, access to us. It's just kind of the idea of like, hard work or kind of motivation or, just, anybody can do anything kind of scenario. And so I just love that kind of kickoff into that book. And the book itself, I think, is great and really well written. Not every Easter egg, specifically that Ernest Cline's put in there, has even been found yet, they said.
I was gonna say, like, I think the thing that everybody loves about it is the fact that it's basically a pop culture encyclopedia.
Yeah.
The movie itself, you're like, oh, I know that.
Yeah.
The book is the same way.
And you felt like such a fucking boss when you knew something that happened. Like I was watching the movie and there's something that happens in the movie that I was like, oh my God, I know what that's from. And I knew that no one else in the theater knew what the fuck that was talking about.
Yes. Yeah.
It was the orb. Oh God, what's the bounty hunter's name? I can't think of his name.
Oh, I don't remember.
The guy that oh fuck, see, now I even forgot the guy that voiced it. Anyway, but he has this orb that creates this like impenetrable shield, and in order to turn the orb on, he whispers he says the name of a spell. And I was like, oh my God, that's from the fucking movie Excalibur from like 1980.
IROC was the name of it. TJ Miller.
IROC. Yeah, I was like, that's a fucking spell that's the Dragon's Breath spell that Merlin cast in Excalibur. And everybody that I was with looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was like, Patrick Stewart was in that goddamn movie.
Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
You're like, you know what? Next time I come to a movie, I hope none of you are here. Oh.
Yeah, as an intellectual property nerd, I absolutely loved that movie just on the idea of how many licenses had to be made in order for that to be put into the movie. Like a book, you can kind of get away with that stuff. Like you feel like with a book, it's almost one of the old saying of better to ask for forgiveness than permission. Like, I'm sorry. I mentioned that in the book. It's de minimis use. Sorry guys. And they're like, oh yeah, whatever. Like in a movie, you can't get away with that stuff. You can't just be like, here's the character everyone knows. And like the fact that they put so much money into that, and they're like, hey, you know what? Can we borrow from this library? Can we borrow from this media? Can we borrow from this? Like, it just blew my mind that they were able to put that all into a movie. And as a pop culture nerd too, seeing the references, getting the references, finding those little Easter eggs yourself that you're like, holy shit, man, they reached in for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happens is like any company, it's like, no, you can't use our property. Like, all right, well, I guess you better call Steven and tell him.
Yeah,
Steven?
exactly right. Yeah.
Steven who?
Do you want to tell that to
Steven Spielberg.
The last, I feel like honestly, the only time I can think of anything that was close to the amount of crossover you saw was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That was the last time that you saw so many different IPs in one spot. Was probably Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
And that was also directed by Steven Spielberg, right?
I think you're right. Yeah, I don't know if it was directed by him, but I think it was an Amblin.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was an Amblin movie. So I mean, it's his production company. So yeah. So apparently, Steven Spielberg is the only person that's allowed to use all of Hollywood at his disposal.
But yeah, I'm super excited for that book to start reading. I've got like 20 pages left in the book I'm reading right now. Then I'm going to jump right into that.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right, John, what do you have up for us next?
Okay, so yeah, I was going back and forth on this. I think I'll do a book as well. I've kind of been more stereotypical. I know when people say that they read books, one of the only authors that kind of everyone reads about is Stephen King. Well, I know he's been hit or miss in his later years, but I had actually...
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Maximum Overdrive. No, he's coming out with a book called Later, and I think this is going to be in the summer of 2021 when it's released. I had just finished the 1963 book that he put out a few years ago, and I go through these Stephen King kicks where it's it'll be years where I haven't read anything by him, and then I'll be like, you know what? I kind of just want to turn my brain off, and I just want to read something for the fun of it. And that's the author that I go to. It was like one of the original authors as a kid that I was kind of introduced to. Really, besides R.L. Stine with Goosebumps, getting me into the horror genre of things. So I am looking forward to reading this one from him. And once again, sitting down and enjoying a good book, because I think that just gets kind of lost, especially with all the other sort of media and entertainment that we have. It's at the disposal of our fingertips, it's nice to actually pick up something and read.
Yeah, I've got a shelf of books that have been staring at me for a while. There's like probably 3 or 4 books that I'm maybe like a quarter of the way through. One's called like Final Girls. I've got Princess Leia's Her Princess Diary book.
Oh, cool.
Carrie Fisher's book. I'm like a quarter of a way through that. But it's like you said, like you sit on the couch and you're like, well, you start flipping through your phone and it's like, oh, wait, 30 minutes have gone by. It's like, I've read like 20 pages.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm trying to force myself to get back into reading a little bit more. Because there is something about like finishing that book and putting it away. And one of the things I've been doing, John, is because I'm always curious about like when I started a book and like not really when I finished it, but more when I started it. But I've always put my name on my book when I start it. So what I've been doing is I put my name, and I've been putting the year for a while, but I've started putting the month I started.
Oh, cool. That's a cool idea.
Yeah, yeah.
It kind of helps to be like, when did I start this book? How long did it take me to finish it? And then if anybody ever picks it up, they can be like, oh, well, this person read this in this year. Because I need to figure out how to like donate my books or get them out to the world just for other people to pick up and read.
Yeah. Oh, man. I hear you there. I need to utilize those little libraries that are pop up all over the place. Just start.
Oh, yeah.
Just give a book, take a book kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah.
So what's Stephen King's Later? What's the synopsis for that?
So it's this kid. I think he's a single mom, and she notices that he has like this power, and she's obviously scared about that. Like, hey, don't tell people prom about this. And he's like, "Mom, will you go with me?"
Mom, I started my period in the shower, and the boys beat me up.
Yep. It's exactly how it goes. Have you read this already? Did you get a sneak preview of this book?
And then a car shows up and
Yeah, but they said it's kind of supposed to be like, and I take that with a grain of salt when they mention this, but they're like, oh yeah, if you liked it, you're gonna like this one. And so I know they say that a lot with this stuff nowadays, but it's supposed to be like, I guess, I don't know if he grows up or he gets a little older, and there's this detective that is drawn to him and wants to like use him to help solve a killer case, maybe a cold case or something. But I haven't read too much outside of just the synopsis of it, so I don't know too much. And it's one of the only forms of media where I don't like to kind of dive in a little bit more. I kind of like to let the book do its job,
same boat,
you know?
Yeah. I like to know, like, it's like the book I'm currently reading. It's like, hey, it's almost like a virtual world and there's a virus going through it. And you're like, okay, I'm in. That's all I want to know.
Yeah, right.
So I want to ask a stupid question. So Stephen, like, I just looked this up on Amazon. Are all Stephen King books paperback when they first come out?
No. Yeah, that was the thing too. I noticed that this was paperback as well. And I wanted to look into that and be like, what this must be just kind of like for Stephen King, a short story. It's almost 300 pages, which is, like a normal, typical novel for people. But Stephen King usually writes these 900-page bangers, And so, this one, I don't know. I know a lot of his books come out in hardcover. I don't know if this will end up getting a hardcover treatment or whatnots, or what they plan on doing. I loved the cover of it. It reminded me of like a pulpy noir cover. So that's what kind of intrigued me to begin with. And it reminded me actually kind of like Stephen King's 80s style books with the paperbacks. So I don't know what they're going to do with this, if that was like their intention all along or what, but I mean, I have like the Cell as a hardcover when that was his take on zombies, and it was cell phones and all that. Not really the best book, but so I know that he does put out hardcovers, but recently, I'm not too for sure.
Yeah, I like your point about the cover because it definitely looks like a modern, like old school Western cover.
Yeah, right.
Like something I'd see my grandpa reading. All right, Richard. Well, what do you have up for us next?
I actually my list is pretty well tapped out. I went through most of my movies, and I had, like I said, I don't watch a lot of TV. I could quick hit big some game releases that are coming up in 2021. So 2021 game wise, you're gonna see one thing that looks kind of interesting. We were talking about Batman earlier. You got Gotham Knights, which is an Arkham-esque based game, but they're actually finally touching on the Court of Owls storyline.
Oh, nice.
I kind of forgot about that because that came out in like June or July when they were talking about that.
Yeah. They did it at that DC fandom is when they were is when they mentioned it. So so that's coming in 2021. What else? New Horizon Zero Dawn, which I know Sean was planning on getting a PlayStation 5, and Horizon Zero Dawn looks, I mean, I never played Horizon Zero Dawn. I watched a lot of it and it looked really, really good. So like I said, I know Sean was working on getting a PlayStation 5. He's in that very not so silent majority of where is one? I need one.
Yeah, I haven't started going out and asking like random GameStops yet because I feel like that's where you're gonna get a lot of evil looks.
Resident Evil 7.
Nice.
Will be in 2021. It's apparently being called The Village, and I'm not exactly sure if it seems like it's set earlier.
Kinda.
Like,
yeah, I get that feel too, yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. The last one I will mention is we are getting another Hitman game, which I am kind of psyched for because the last 2 have been really, really good.
I'd be down.
And
for
apparently
that.
they want to work on adding a VR component to it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'd be down for because I've been playing Witcher a little bit, Witcher 3, and if you had more of that kind of like stealth and like trying to figure out how to do different things, like a good, it can be done really bad, but I think if it's done right, it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. This is your first Witcher 3 playthrough.
Yeah,
and
that's funny. I'm doing the same thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
yeah.
Both of you were playing. Both of you were playing it for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Congrats,
Rich.
It's really, really fun.
Did you get the Black Friday deal, John?
No, I had it a long time ago from original Black Friday deal.
Oh,
and
okay.
It had just been sitting there, and I finished Red Dead Redemption 2 a few months ago, and I was just like, you know what? COVID actually kind of got me back into playing video games, so I said I'm going to sit down and play Witcher 3. And
how many hours have you put in?
Not too many. I'm still kind of fairly in the beginning of it, so maybe 6 hours, maybe.
Okay,
that's about
you're
where
about
I'm
where.
at,
I was gonna say that's about where Sean is too.
Yeah, I know. Richard kind of was talking about Far Cry like before COVID happened, and so I was like, I haven't touched my PlayStation in like a year. I feel bad about it, so I tried playing Far Cry, didn't like it, but then like you said, COVID happened. And I was really pumped for baseball season this year. And with baseball being out, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to get MLB The Show, and I'm going to play a crap ton of baseball on my PlayStation. And so that just got that gaming bug. And this Black Friday, they had Witcher, the complete series, for $15 for the PS4.
Yeah, the game. It was the Witcher 3. It was the game of the year, Witcher 3.
And so I was
that's
like,
a good deal.
Yeah, I got to get that. Well, the last thing before I do some quick hits too, it's going to finish in 2021. And I talked a little bit about it last year, I think, but Kevin Eastman is partnering up to do a comic book series called The Last Ronin.
Yes.
The first one's out. I think the second one might be out at this point too, but I've read the first one and it is like everything I wanted. It's kind of
awesome.
That old 80s dark turtles, but it's in the future. They pick the right turtle to be the last turtle because I was really nervous about who they would pick. I was like, well, they'll probably do this.
Is that who you predicted?
No, I'm not going to say I predicted it. That's probably who I wanted the most.
Yeah.
But I kind of said like I can see any of them but Donatello.
He was my favorite.
Yeah, he wasn't mine.
I know.
But yeah, I think it's like a 4 or 5 part series. It's something he wrote like in the early 90s. But he's kind of like tweaked it a little bit, and it's taken place right now in the time frame. Like it took place in the 2020s when he wrote it. So it's coming out at the time that he actually placed the story. So it's good so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But all right, so before we jump into what we talked about a little bit last year, which we'll quick hit, John, did you have any stuff that you wanted to quick hit on for what you're excited for next year?
We kind of already mentioned some of it. Just quickly, I am interested in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is coming out. I'm interested in the remake of Candyman.
Ooh, yeah, that looks good.
Oh shit, yeah.
I'm interested with Halloween Kills as well, how they're gonna keep going with that. That does have my interest. I like Michael Myers and all that. TV wise, in the beginning, I really liked Dexter, and I know everyone else kind of had the same feelings towards the tail end of Dexter, but they're bringing Dexter back, and so I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with that.
On my list, and I'm fine with talking about this because I think it was season 4, The Trinity Killer. I've told Rich about this. Probably one of my favorite seasons of a TV show of all time.
Oh, yeah, man.
Mainly because I didn't know how it was going to end. And when it did, I was just like, loved that whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've told you this, John, but to make the ending of Dexter a little bit better, and spoilers for you, Richard, but I don't know if you're going to watching it. It's a slight spoiler. But Dexter goes up north and basically becomes a lumberjack.
Right,
and everybody hated that.
Yeah.
But somebody told me that basically what he did is to basically kind of do a penance or kind of a purgatory for all the stuff that he did. He has to work every day with the tool that killed his mom. and not
wow.
kill anybody.
Yeah.
And so when I kind of heard that, I'm like, oh, like that's kind of
Wow.
mind blowing a little bit.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, a limited series with him coming back. I don't know if they're going to retcon it or not, but yeah, I'm all for that.
I hope they don't. I hope that, that they can. Retcon's kind of like the easy way out,
Yeah, exactly.
Let them try to get their way out of this. So, yeah, that was it. Better Call Saul. I really like that series, and 2021, that's the end. So I'll be interested to see where that goes. But yeah, some good stuff in 2021.
All right. So for me, we didn't talk about it much, but WandaVision's going to start out the first of the year.
Ah, yes.
Basically, it's kind of going to see like a bunch of different sitcoms. And then I think like there's a lot of rumors and ideas like this might be the backdoor for getting mutants into the MCU.
Yeah.
So I'd be totally pumped for that. I haven't heard too much more about it, but Morbius, the Marvel vampire
the living
movie.
vampire.
Oh yeah, Jared Leto.
I think that was supposed to come out this year, so I think it's done. So that's going to kind of follow the path of kind of like Black Widow.
Because it's technically a Spider-Verse character.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, I guess it is a Fox.
No,
Sony.
I think it was Sony.
Is it Sony?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Sony because Morbius is technically a Spider-Verse character because, I mean, he had his own title for a while, but he was in Spider-Man all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So where the hell would Sony even put that? I guess unless they partnered with Disney or something silly like that, but I don't see that happen for Morbius.
Well, I mean, I think Spider-Man is supposed to cameo in if they make another Venom movie. So
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's supposed to. Venom 2 is supposed to come out in 2021, supposedly as well with Carnage.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to kind of play on that, like how the first Venom was, where it's not really Spider-Man at all. Just they're in the Spider-Verse, but this is concentrating on their own character.
And then the last thing, kind of tying into video games, I really want to get my hands on a PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the rest of the world,
yeah,
Sean.
Right? Yeah.
I guess today Sony had some on the PlayStation Store and they sold out pretty quick.
Oh, I bet.
But Witcher's going to tide me over. Kind of talking to items from last year. Cyberpunk, I've got it ordered, but I'm going to wait until I get my PS5.
It's finally here.
Yeah, Rich said that it'd be April, but it came out in December. The day we're recording it, we are recording a little bit early before the end of the year, but the day it came out, Richard played for an hour and then jumped on for this.
No, not even an hour. I got it for 30 minutes. I got to get through the character creator and I'm about 2 minutes into the actual game. Literally 2 minutes before I had to get off and hop on here. Which is why I'm probably extra loud because I'm like, let's hurry this up.
Well, the good thing is we're recording early, so you've got like a good 7 hours before you have to be at work. So
hey, this has been on my huddle list for the last like 2 huddles, and I finally got it. So I feel like it's only fitting that the day I get it, I'm like, guys, I finally got it. It's here. It's really here.
All right, well, let me go through a little bit of last year's Bro Huddle. So, John, you had AEW and wrestling in general again. You also had Bill and Ted Face the Music. Did you get a chance to watch that this year?
No, I still haven't gotten a chance to watch it. I'm bummed, too.
Get a chance.
If you're looking for a review of it.
Yeah, yes, right? Yeah. I haven't listened to the review because I don't want any spoilers, so...
He's like, that's why I don't listen to any of your episodes, just in case you spoil Bill and Ted Face the Music.
The whole time, yep. That's exactly
No, John, we only talk about Bill and Ted. Nope, no one take chances.
We talked about a lady from 500 years ago. Nope, no spoilers. I want to read the story for myself.
So, Richard, last year you had Ghostbusters, which is pushed to 21.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
That was supposed to be July, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was supposed to be summertime. Wonder Woman, which was pushed to 20. Yeah. Birds of Prey.
Oof.
Yeah. Did you watch? You watched it, didn't you?
I did. Oof.
I
mean,
it was rough. That was
so rough.
So I saw that in January, and that was the last movie I saw in theaters for
the last movie I saw in the theater was Last Skywalker.
That's better than Birds of Prey, but not by much.
Yeah. Or The Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker.
What's the last movie you saw in theaters, John?
Oh my gosh, guys, I can't even remember.
Showgirls.
Yes. Picture this. No, I almost went to go see Birds of Prey in Germany when I was over there, just because I was like, it'd be kind of funny to see this in a different country and see if it was actually in a different language or not. Gosh, yeah.
Nope, just as bad.
Yeah. It was actually better because I didn't understand it.
Did you know they serve lots of booze in German movie theaters?
They got Steins. You ever heard of a Stein?
Yeah, I can't tell you what the last one I saw. I'd really have to think about that because it has been since the beginning of the year. It might have been.
Yeah, I think we all like the last movie we had we watched in a theater. Now it's like I gotta get that taste out of my mouth. Like even like Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Like I need to see something different.
Yeah, right.
That's
that can't be the end.
I didn't even see Mortal Kombat in the theater.
Oh, that would be kind of worth it. So last week's episode we talked about Fat Man, like Rich was saying, the Mel Gibson movie. I did venture out to our theater to watch it because our theaters are open. But the only reason I went to is because somebody I know went, and he's like, there was literally like 2 people there.
Oh, wow.
And so, and that's what was at my theater. It was me and 3 other people. And so, like I told Rich, I sat right next to him. We shared popcorn. They have free
made out a little bit.
Yeah, well, they have free refills for drinks. I'm like, so we don't need to get 2 of these. Let's just share with this one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys like when you blow bubbles in your drinks?
It's human decency right there.
You're a good person.
Yep.
And Richard, your last thing was Disney Plus. What the heck will be on everything up in the air? So at this point, we didn't even know there's going to be a Mando season 2.
That's true. Although we got it.
Yes,
and
it's good.
Like, I mean, I think as we're recording this, we still have 2 episodes to go.
Yeah, so when this comes out, it should be done, I think.
Yes.
So for me, I had Black Widow, and I said if it's been 2 months between seeing a movie, I'd probably go see Ghostbusters. And so now we know if it's been like 10 months, I'm going to go see Fat Man. I had Scoob, which I planned to be my kid's first movie, which I did see at home and liked it. Free Guy, the NPC movie with Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah,
that got pushed, right?
Yeah, it was supposed to be summer. They pushed it to December, and I think they pushed it even further. So I no clue when that's coming out. TMNT 100 issue. They switched all new writers after that issue came out, which they're doing okay. It's definitely different, but it was a good issue. And then even with a shortened baseball season, I had a White Sox baseball, which they made the playoffs. They've got some good stuff going to the future. They have Tony La Russa as their manager now, which I'm not excited about, but
I hope they score many baskets.
So Richard, just so you know about Tony La Russa, the last time he managed was in 2011. He was old then. And in the last game that he managed, he called the wrong person to pitch twice.
Oh man.
And when the pitcher that we just signed recently, Lance Lynn, came up to the mound when he was there, he looked at him and says, "What the hell are you doing here?"
Oh,
so
man.
Very exciting. But it's better. It won't be better than this episode of the Bro Huddle. So John, I want to thank you again for coming on, and I want to tee it up for you to give us your John's closing thoughts.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, as always, thank you guys so much. And the fact that, I mean, for me, Pod Bros, I said at the end of 2020, it would be shutting its doors and everything. But the shows and stuff, that we had on, some of them would still live on, which I'm happy about. It's been an absolute treasure, just to meet you guys, to get to know you guys. Like you said earlier, all jokes aside, it's simply amazing what the internet has done just for us, and the fact that we can communicate. And one day we will actually see each other in person. It will happen eventually. I know we've planned and things have gotten canceled and life has just been crazy, but this has been a blast. And I no better way for me anyway than to finish out 2020 than being on the show with you guys. And you've been supportive throughout all these years, and I can't thank you guys enough. And I'm just so happy to see that you guys are continuing. You're just as strong as ever. And to see your names on Twitter and whatnot, to see the mentions, the tweets from other people about the show, like that gets me excited. Just seeing that there's people out there that are like, oh man, these guys are awesome. And the fact that you guys have kept at it all this time and that you're going to keep going at it is just amazing. And, I wish you all the best of luck in 2021 going forward and everything. And I hope after saying all this, you're not like, oh yeah, we just wanted to announce that we're retiring. So
yep, this is our last episode ever.
Thanks, John.
No, great words, John. And like, it's, we try to get together like in IRL, as the kids say. I think Rich and I talked about like maybe a brocation to Michigan to see you. Of course, that's kind of got put on hold for this year, obviously, and probably next year for obvious reasons. But you've always got an open invitation to our show. Anytime you want to come on, you just let us know.
Thank you.
And I know with Pod Bros and everything, is there anywhere you want to send anybody for kind of the future stuff that you're working on the interwebs?
Oh geez, right now I don't have anything crazy going on. I am very excited, and I know as podcasters we're always the butt of the jokes of the social influencer world, but we have had some great opportunities because of what we've done and how much we've busted our asses with stuff. Just recently, I was asked to contribute to not only one, but 3 books on 80s movie action stars, a Steven Seagal book reviewing his filmography, Chuck Norris, and my personal favorite, obviously, Jean-Claude Van Damme. And so,
nice.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. If it wasn't for podcasting, that stuff would have never happened. So it's pretty funny. Be on the lookout for 2021 for the Steven Seagal book. I think I can say this. I haven't been told not to. Is going to be called Hard to Watch. The Chuck Norris is Missing the Action, and the Jean-Claude Van Damme book is Blood Spurt. So I'm very, very excited about those, and was very honored to be asked to be a part of them. So yeah, I look forward to that. But other than that, I don't have any other links. I have some ideas. Real life jobs just been crazy busy. So they've just been ideas and whatnot. But be on the lookout. I'll still have an online presence, though. That's what I'll say.
When those books, when they come out and everything, and you can promote them or talk about them a little bit more detail, let us know. We'd love to have you on to talk about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely. We will.
All right. Well, Richard, I'm surprised you forgot this thing, but in your closing thoughts, do you want to talk anything about G4?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're going to get G4 in 2021. I mean, as far as I can, all the signs are pointing to we're going to see G4 in 2021. There was a Thanksgiving reunion special.
No way.
With all of your favorite hosts. Kevin Pereira was there, Olivia Munn, Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb, all sitting down and reminiscing bits from the past. Gave me all those good, numbing nostalgia feels. The future looks really bright for G4. It seems like they have super smart people in there. They've got their talent is really good. They do have a new kind of like headliner. It seems like that's kind of making rounds on the Twitterverse, and I know you probably have a better idea who this person is than I do, Sean. The wrestler. Yes.
I can't remember what his name is. He's from the New Day, though.
Xavier Woods?
Yeah, Xavier Woods. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, that's it.
They've brought him on for a full-time role, it sounds like.
Yeah, they're kind of billing him as the voice of G4.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if Vince is going to be happy about that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I don't know. Competing with his own up, down, down YouTube channel.
But yeah, I'm super stoked for G4. That was kind of one of those things like, 2021 seems like this year that a lot of things, like everything feels very up in the air. And so you know, they like with G4, you know, we see this reunion thing that happens around Thanksgiving, and then, you know, it's, hey, we're gonna, you know, come out, have new content soon. And you go, okay,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
I'll be happy when it gets here, but until then, like, I don't know.
But yeah, that's kind of a sad closing thoughts. Like 2021, I'll believe it when I see it.
That's a good model
Yeah,
for
that's a good
2021.
point. We're not there yet.
There's a thing going around. It's like, what happens if you hear it? 3, 2, 1, round 2. All right, well, let me do a little bit of housekeeping before we close out this Bro Huddle. You can visit our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at languageofbro, and email us at bros@languageofbromance.com. We'd like to thank our patrons who have supported us all year, Wendy and Aaron. Thank you guys so much for your continued support throughout the year.
We love you all year.
All right, gentlemen, is there anything else before I close her out?
I am good.
Oh, I just wanted to say one last thing. Really, I just wanted to keep Rich from playing Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
Bastard.
Let's talk about
Birds.
Game of Thrones and how we're excited for George R. Martin.
Yeah, the question is, who feels worse about this conversation? Me, that I don't get to, I need to play more, or you, because you still don't get a book.
You're like, tricks on you. I've been playing this whole time. All right. Well, that's all the Bromance we have for this show. I'm Sean.
And I'm Richard.
And I'm John.
And remember, don't be a why. Be a why not.